Hi. It's Vicky with you again. Today we have a very unusual video. It's called Death Match, Soviet Prisoner versus the Best Fighter of the Wehrmacht. It already sounds like a Hollywood script. And it's amazing that this actually happened in real life. The video is pretty short, but it has over 7 million views. So I thought it would be interesting to watch it together with you. So let's see what caught the attention of so many people. Alright, let's watch.
A Soviet boxer, imprisoned in a concentration camp, went up against a German champion and managed to put on an incredible fight, which we'll talk about next. But before we start this video, I have a small request. Please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It won't take much effort for you, but for me, it'll be motivation to keep making good content. Thank you.
So, what have I understood so far? A Soviet boxer, a prisoner, is fighting in a concentration camp against a German soldier or a German champion. I'm not sure yet, but honestly, it sounds like a movie. It doesn't seem real. Especially for that time. That's amazing. I don't know what to say. Let's keep watching. By the way, classic reminder, please make sure to like this video and subscribe. There's going to be a lot of interesting stuff here. Let's keep watching.
This boxer's name was Andrei Borzenko. As a prisoner in the Buchenwald concentration camp, he managed to have a brilliant match against the German heavyweight champion named Willie. Borzenko joined the ranks of the Red Army already as a master of sports in heavyweight boxing. A month later, in one of the battles, he was wounded in the leg, and later on, he was also wounded in the arm. However, the injuries were compatible with continuing his service. In September 1941, the Soviet boxer received yet another wound, which soon caused him to lose consciousness right on the battlefield. As a result, he was taken prisoner.
A master of sports at the front, wounded in captivity, and on top of that, it all comes down to fights. I just remember how after stretching my legs hurt, and I can't even go up the stairs and complain to everyone about it. And these people went through all of that. Where did they get the strength? Where did they get that kind of willpower, some unreal reserve of this life energy? It's amazing.
An interesting fact is that when he ended up in the German concentration camp Stalag, he managed to escape twice. However, each time he was found and sent back to the camp. Later, Andrei, along with other prisoners, was sent to the infamous Buchenwald concentration camp. Curiously, there was a strict hierarchy there, established by the German authorities. The leaders were the criminals. After them came the foreigners, then the Russians, and at the very bottom of this hierarchy were the Jews. One day, one of the criminals hit the Soviet boxer with a club, trying to hurry him up for roll call. However, Borzenko immediately knocked his attacker out cold. After that incident, none of the criminals dared to beat the Russian prisoners anymore.
Wow. 2 escapes. How is that even possible? I remember when my phone was stolen in the city center, I was so scared to go downtown after that. I mean, I was just scared in general. I was afraid it would happen to me again. I was scared that the person would track me down. I don't know, I was just kind of paranoid. And here this person just kept trying, didn't give up, and he had a baton. Seriously, why do people beat each other? Just because there's some kind of artificial hierarchy. Why does someone go around hitting people with a baton? You have to admit, humanity is weird. Well, it's cool that he endured everything, knocked the guy out with one punch, and earned respect. Amazing. What nonsense. It's like everyone is living in hell, and yet there are still some rules, some codes of bravery that work there.
On weekends, the inmates would usually organize boxing tournaments to entertain the Germans. As a rule, it was the leaders of the caste who often won the fights, since they were much better fed. The winners received an extra ration of bread, while the losing prisoners were simply taken away to the crematorium. At that time, the Soviet athlete met the Dutch boxing coach Harry Mikkeldor, who was also in the concentration camp. Another traditional boxing match was scheduled to take place that weekend. First to enter the ring was a former boxing champion of Hamburg, a German who had been sent to the concentration camp for repeated robberies and murders.
Terrible times. There was no food. If you won, you got bread. If you lost, they just took you away. It was like some kind of survival lottery. It was hardly a tournament. And yet there were still coaches and champions involved. Everything seemed to get mixed up in one place, as if people were trying to pretend that life was normal, while all around them there was utter horror. I had a similar feeling, I think, back in school, when someone would act like everything was fine, but all around, things were just a complete mess. Of course, this is a whole different scale of tragedy. It's hard to compare, I know, but those are the only associations I have right now.
None of the prisoners wanted to go up against the huge thug, who weighed over 100 kilograms. Seeing this, the German guards decided to offer not only a loaf of bread to the winner, but also a can of stew. In the end, Borzenko approached the ring with his coach, expressing his desire to box with the German. After that, the prisoners were given gloves and the start of the match was announced. The bald German, whose head was covered in scars from street fights, immediately charged at the Soviet boxer. He wanted to land a single powerful blow and knock his opponent out. However, his plan was not meant to succeed. Even though Andrei was about 20 kilograms lighter than his opponent, he skillfully fended off all the attacks. The brute started clinching and even elbowed the Soviet athlete a couple of times. However, the referee didn't notice any of this.
Can you imagine, really, what kind of life situations, what kind of life they created for people, that people were ready to fight, to kill, to beat each other up for a can of stew? Can you just imagine how people were driven to this point? It's simply incomprehensible. In our well-fed times, it's just unimaginable. The moment when he secretly got elbowed, and the referee didn't notice a thing. Classic, right? Just like in life. Things get tough for you, and for some reason, the rules suddenly stop working altogether, and it gets even harder.
The guards and other concentration camp staff started betting on the German, thinking that sooner or later he would land a crushing blow on the Russian boxer. In the end, the first round didn't produce a winner. From the very first seconds of the second round, the German launched a rapid attack on Borzenko. Failing to succeed, he hit the Soviet boxer in the groin, causing him to double over in unbearable pain. The bald convict rushed in to finish off his opponent, despite his trainer's objections. The referee pulled the German aside and waited for Andrei to get back into his stance.
The more I watch this video, the more amazed I am by that era. Everyone's placing bets as if this is some kind of match on TV. But it's not a fight for sport, it's a fight for life, a fight for survival. A hit to the groin is just beyond the pale. I suspect it's painful, humiliating, and as for fairness, that's not even up for discussion. It's amazing that even here, they let him get back up. Yeah, it looks like life itself was pressing down against you. But even the referee unexpectedly pauses, gives a chance, a tiny chance that completely changes the course of the game. Yeah.
As soon as the referee allowed the fight to continue, Borzenko closed in on his opponent and threw a 1-2, landing a left to the liver and a right to the jaw. The very next second, the German was already lying in a deep knockout. Most of them, the humiliated guards, will open fire on them. To this day, it's still a mystery why the Nazis didn't take revenge on the Soviet boxer prisoner who knocked out their champion.
You know what's really strange about the story? It's that he wasn't punished. I mean, it seems to me that either the storyteller is leaving something out or this is just a really, really brief retelling. But of course, it does look kind of magical. It feels like either everyone there was just blown away with respect, or they simply didn't know what to do with him, or maybe they were saving him for some next fight. But it's definitely some kind of paradox. I mean, it just seems almost impossible.
A couple of years later, when the Red Army started winning one victory after another at the front, they liberated all the prisoners of the Buchenwald concentration camp. The surviving Germans were either taken prisoner en masse or shot on the spot. After the liberation, the Soviet boxers' coach left together with the Americans, who by that time had joined forces with our troops. Interestingly, he invited our champion to go with him to the Netherlands, but the champion chose to return to his family in Uzbekistan.
By the way, speaking of the Netherlands, if I were in his shoes, I would have thought about it, but here's the thing. By the way, let me know in the comments if you know how much the Netherlands was affected by the war. I think it was affected. He returned to Uzbekistan. Apparently, it was his family. Apparently, he was drawn to his family. That's an understandable feeling. It's a kind of lack of freedom, right? It's not abroad. Probably, yeah. That was probably his choice, and the right one.
Soon he had a conversation with Soviet commanders who believed his story. As a result, he continued to fight for his motherland until the end of the Great Patriotic War, after which he went to Tashkent. At home, he reunited with his family, his father, mother, and sister. Later, the Soviet champion enrolled in medical school, chose to become a surgeon, and then got married. For a long time, he didn't tell anyone about his time in the concentration camp. It was only after Stalin's death that he decided to reveal the truth to his close relatives. Shortly before the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Soviet boxer was finally issued a certificate recognizing him as a participant in the Great Patriotic War, although before that he had been repeatedly summoned for interrogations. Andrei Borzenko lived a full life, working as a surgeon and earning great respect. According to those who knew him, he was a very kind and compassionate person. Andrei Borzenko passed away in 1992. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel.
Can you imagine? A fighter, a boxer, became a surgeon. He started a new life. He kept silent, never told anyone anything. I know from my own experience that when you have so much bottled up inside, so much is built up, keeping silent, not speaking out, not telling someone about it, it's just torture. Only after Stalin was gone did he finally tell everything. I suspect he was afraid of, more interrogations, yeah. That was probably the problem. Maybe he, was afraid they'd somehow charge him with complicity. I don't know why he was afraid, but apparently, yeah, it was just that kind of time. And the person lived with that pain, not knowing how to explain it. And despite all that, he lived a full, genuine life and became a valuable member of society. How can people, after stories like this, still say it's hard to start life from scratch? Anything is possible. That's all there is to it. I sit here and think, how do stories like this even happen in our lives? Why are people so cruel? And still amazed by human cruelty. It's amazing how, after all that, a person was able to go on living, how he chose to help others, how he chose to stay kind, to remain compassionate. What do you think after hearing this story? I think everyone here will find something personal in it. Yes, the story turned out to be short, but it's about strength and about injustice. Some people will simply be amazed by it. By the way, if you know of any similar videos, be sure to drop them in the comments, write what you think, and send in videos that I should check out. I'll be happy to watch them. If you liked this, please give it a like. It would mean a lot to me. Subscribe. Don't forget to check out my other reaction videos. They're also really lively and genuine. Alright, bye-bye.